So, I know you're like, Ryan, Fire Emblem Three Houses isn't even relevant anymore. You're too late, you snoozed and losed. Just cut your losses and disappear for another year. Okay, well, first off, that's rude. Second, I've had a lot of early morning shifts and feel dead inside afterwards. And finally, this is my end time on the game. I hope this alone is enough evidence to, show you why. It was such a long game. So, I got into Fire Emblem a little bit after Fates came out, because I was bored at work and curious to see why the series was so popular. This eventually led to me playing more games in the series, learning to play Fire Emblem Cypher, and even making 4 lifelong friends from the card game. And now, while I haven't played all of the games in the series, I've played and know enough to hopefully give an okay opinion on this game. And that opinion is really, really good. So in this game, you take control of Bailiff, one of the first new protagonists in a decent while that you can't completely customize, only able to change their name and gender. They're the child of a famed mercenary, and they're also literally an emotionless husk. Like, that's actually an entire plot point. After beating up some bandits, you are then forcibly hired at a monastery/school as a professor, and can pick one of 3 houses to teach and then eventually lead on a killing spree. I picked the Blue Lions because they had good skills, I really wanted to see how good upper class white boy becomes so edgy his armor has a scar, and I also really wanted to be unique because I thought like 5 other people chose Blue Lions. I was right, by the way. At first, I didn't really like most of the characters. Due to just being neutral expression portraits, I felt like design-wise they just didn't have the same air of personality the other Fire Emblem character arts had. I had trouble remembering who was who for a little while, actually. But once I started getting accustomed to everyone, and learning more about them through their supports, I started to really enjoy some of these characters. Like Ash, who's just a pure little bean boy. The gameplay itself is both standard and unique. You've got your units, your enemy units, a map, your weapons and their durabilities, and an objective. There are also now combat arts, special moves some classes can do with weapons, and battalions, which provide stat buffs and can do AoE attacks and supports. There are also now monster units that take up 4 spaces as opposed to 1, and have multiple health bars. These things are actually really fun additions that spiced battle up, as instead of having units focus on multiple enemies to pick off one by one, you had to really focus a lot of attention on these things. There's also a significant amount of gameplay that happens outside of battle, which seems to be a first for the series. You teach your units different skills, and then you can spend your weekend exploring the monastery, battling, learning even more, or just taking a nice little break. While I haven't played the series, I hear that it's actually very similar to Persona. And speaking of, the art style and characters really seem to feel like Persona 5 too. I also really like the clear inspiration they took from other games in the series. Branching paths from Fates, exploration and grinding from Echoes, time skip from Genealogy, and Bailiff is pretty similar to Ike. Sure, you could argue that these are coincidences, but they just seem so refined that I think they took feedback and experience from previous titles and tweaked them a bit to fit better. Also, the battles themselves felt really amazing. The first part of the game has some okay ones, nothing too crazy until near the ending, but the latter half of the game, oh my god, those were some epic ones. Intense music, large stakes, in-battle dialogue, massive obstacles to overcome, it all felt cinematic, for lack of a better word. It felt awesome. So in the end, I say go play this game. I know a lot of people rag on Fire Emblem for being a waifu anime dating sim, which this one maybe is a little bit, but to a much lesser degree than the other games. However, this one really hits its mark, bringing back a lot of reasons for why people like the older games, along with refreshing new features to mix it up. If you ever have even a passing interest in this game based on what you've heard of it, go and try it, because it's really good, and it will easily eat up a lot of your time. Also, there's fishing. So, there, instant bestseller.
I have something to ask of you. Flane's got us trapped in the McDonald's play place.